Look, I'm gonna take y'all inside the crack house, right? And this is, most people haven't smoked crack. And if y'all know my story, I was on crack for 20 years, 20 plus years, homeless and sleeping in bushes, under park benches, on park benches, and abandoned buildings and all of that. So, and in many crack houses. I've been in crack houses where I've laid in there literally next to dead rats while I was in there smoking, or I was trying to go to sleep. And this is what people do. Crack houses are some of the most dirtiest, nastiest places that you can be in. And so much goes on in there, so much violence that goes on in there. I remember being in a crack house one time and I was in there smoking, and it had hit my heart so hard that I thought my heart was about to bust. And if you know anything about crack, a lot of times you share the crack pipe, so you pass it around, and it was my turn to smoke, but I refused to drop that pipe. In my mind, it was like I'd rather die first than to put this pipe down. But inside the crack house, you see people crawling around on the floor. Anything that looks white, once you run out of crack, it's like you're about to lose your mind. So for me, what I used to do, if I would run out, I would go out and steal or commit armed robberies. So that's why I went to prison and stuff like that. But you're on the floor looking for any little piece of anything. Can you imagine like 10 or 15 people just crawling around on the floor as if we're some kind of slaves picking cotton, trying to find something to smoke? I've smoked all kind of stuff before that wasn't crack, paint chippings and everything, thinking that it was crack. So it's a crazy scene inside the crack house, right? And then you have a lot of women in there who are in there prostituting for anything as low as $2, $3, or some of them even for a hit of crack. And these are some women who at one time had a lot of dignity, good jobs, but crack got a hold of them, man, and destroyed them, and they're now stuck in the crack house and a crack life. But the one thing you won't expect that's in the crack house that a lot of people do not know about, a lot of people, including myself, my sister, and many other people, are in crack houses crying and praying to God, please deliver us. I remember being in crack houses, man, with girls in there crying, asking God, please get me off of this stuff. There were men in there almost in tears, praying. We were all in there talking about the Bible and how we believed in God. Still, in some of the worst situations, we're in there talking about God. But it's so much that goes on in the crack house. There's so much that goes on at night. And when somebody finally comes up out of that life like me, and you can look back, I could never imagine myself literally laying next to a dead rat, because this was the environment that I was in. I could never imagine myself doing some of the things that I've done. And let me mention one more thing about men who are in crack houses. You got men in there prostituting too. I never do that garbage. There were some standards I just had that I wouldn't do, but there were men in there prostituting too with other men. Being inside a crack house and being in a crack game is something to go through, let me tell you.